Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 7:29 starting time. From Cherry Hills Village, Colorado, David Duval.
Now 37 years old, British Open champion from 2001, 99 players champion when he took over the top spot on the world. We've talked about how he has slid, and now trying to put 4 good rounds together here in a championship of this magnitude in the second to last group in the U.S. Open. And really, no matter what happens to Duval, it's been a great week.
Yeah, the biggest comeback in U.S. Open history is Arnold Palmer at Cherry Hills, and he lives there now, so I don't know if that means anything, but
well, 7 shots. Arnie got it done in 1960. Duval begins 5 behind Ricky Barnes.
Needs to keep driving it well.
And that's headed left.
Yeah, it was one of those bad drives. He said he had bad drive on 15 and 16, and that was it. And now he's added another poor drive.
Out there off of the fairway is Duval in the rough.
It's thick. Don't hook ball. Yeah, it was very thick and lush. Made a good hit at it, but it's just too thick.
Get some nice encouragement from the fans. Duval has been all week long. And while he was playing, this was Duval's 3rd, trying to save his par at this first.
Go. Go.
Sort of a tough start for him, but he can make that.
Up ahead to the 5th.
Was.
At the first, Duval trying to stay at 3 under.
Poorly played hole for David. That's not what he wanted for his confidence or for this great comeback that he's orchestrated.
For the horn, this was David Duval.
Chipping out of the front fringe there. Pretty heavy stuff. This is what Tiger's had so much trouble with this week.
Good shot.
Gets that up very close right there. Back to 3.
David Duval at 2 under. He started off with a bogey last night. Completed a couple of holes. And you've got all the crowd pulling for Mickelson. Maybe the guy they're pulling for second hardest is David Duval, former top-ranked player in the world, and trying to cap off an incredible story of resurrecting his game.
It's pretty amazing, I gotta admit. This is an amazing story. Going with the 4-iron. Might be left.
How about a miscue for David on the long par 3. How about this live for David Duval, buried under the lip at the 3rd. That is not the way you want to start your Monday. I mean, that is.
Seems like the only balls that are bearing are the ones that are right near the lip. When the guys rake the sand up to, you know, cover that area and whatever, that's the softest sand in the bunker, is the stuff that's up near the lip.
Yeah, Johnny, I can't help but feel the same way. You know, during the rains, it washed all the sand away from there, and then they just go back in and they puff it up against the edges. Remember the one Tiger had yesterday?
Yes, exactly.
Just about impossible. He's checking to see if he maybe bent the shaft.
You could replace that if it were to bend in the act of hitting a shot.
All right, back to the ball in a moment.
Full yardage as we go back to 3.
And this was a moment ago. Duval's 3rd after the plug tee shot, trying to get it up and down for a bogey.
Wow.
Now he is looking at double to start. So also a moment ago, the 4th. Hard to watch after how hard Duval has worked all week.
Just a bad break. It was, you know, it's a hard shot to hit the green. You don't expect to be buried on it.
Go to 3.
And a very, very disappointing start for Duval. Plugged underneath the lip.
Triple bogey.
This championship coming on Monday. Over to 4.
This just a moment ago, Dan. Duval for a birdie. Nice bounce back. Short of the green in 2. Good pitch. So David Duval gets it back to even par.
And
David Duval playing alongside Fisher. This for par.
See if we can get a rare par on this hole.
All right, good comeback for Duval after the triple at the 3rd, birdie at the 4th, nice par save at 5.
Else is doing.
Right. He's not on. Duval now at 7. His second. Holy cow, it's a mud ball. That's a mud ball. Did you see that? You cannot hit a ball that crooked.
Well, I'd like to give it the mud all the credit, but that was a pretty skanky looking swing.
Over at 7.
And David Duval now playing his 3rd up against the tree. He picked up and fell back and hit about a half a blader. And he'll be playing 4 from there. So a couple of disasters for David here, Johnny.
He hasn't been very lucky, though.
Back to the tee live with Duval. Coming off a bogey to drop to +1.
Trying to cut it with double against his left side. But again, like I said, every player that I've seen is a full club short, which is not all bad, as I've said a couple times. But you leave the next one short too, so basically it's a par hole.
3.
That's Coop.
Yeah.
Back to 8.
And Duval with a long birdie attempt. See if he can get it there.
You give out some pastry, David B. Fay, for anybody getting this to the hole. Might have done it.
Give it to David Duval.
First one, getting to the hole, and it goes in.
Back to even.
That one really broke right at the hole for no particular reason. Maybe he deserves a good break.
Sure does. Buried in the bunker. Moment. Over to David Duval at 9, 2nd.
Right foot slipped just a little bit, like Hunter Mahan. But a good shot.
And Duval be something else if he can get himself back in the picture here on the back 9. He'll have a crack at his 2nd straight par, 4th, 15th after he crosses the road. A moment ago at the 9th, Duval for birdie.
Can David Duval make it? Nope. A little bit aggressive.
That coming back to remain at even, 5 back. Backer for Glover. Lead is 4 under. 1 shot better than Barnes to 10.
David Duval's 2nd shot. Gust of wind, I think, Johnny, kind of backs him off.
Yeah, big crowd. Yeah. Right
So
there,
Gary
you know.
Barnes is out in 40, plus 5. Glover out in plus 338. It's brought a lot of people into it.
One of the few players that can get there with an iron, maybe, Gary?
Well, his ball flight's always been a little bit lower and more penetrating than a lot.
And he's always been long.
Yes.
7 players, Gary, within 3 of the lead right now, all of a sudden.
Flag stick right here, Gary.
Yes. Johnny, on the right-hand side, just don't want to miss to the right. Looks like where that's headed. Asking for it to catch in the bunker. It does.
Well, it's a nice flat lie as far as the ball.
And Duval's approach. 4 back.
See if he can get it to the hole. Man did. He's about the only one that we've seen. There we go. Not bad at all.
He'll have a look.
Still in there, even par for the champ.
On the green, good opportunity for David Duval to get it back to red numbers.
Can he do it?
Horrific start with a triple at the 3rd. And Duval will stay at even.
I think one thing.
Scotty Pepper on the ground. Jimmy Roberts, David Fay with us all week long. Got to David Duval at the 12th.
In the left-hand bunker. Nice splash out of there. Very nearly
Mickelson crosses the road over to 15, it will be a wild scene.
For a birdie, and I think rather important to get himself back under par. He's had a terrific tournament overall. A disastrous triple bogey earlier today. There you see hole of the day, and he made triple. So senses and come back from that is enough. Well, David's on his way back without question.
He had some bad breaks actually today. It was a little unlucky here, and that's sitting up also.
Second to last group. David Duval now off the tee, and Dottie Pepper has joined this group.
And he has chosen a sand wedge.
You ever seen a smaller target in your life, Dottie, than this one?
Johnny, I took 2 looks at this because I didn't think it was for real. I think it's brilliant, though. Every side is short side except the long, where the putt's most difficult from.
Probably want to go 10 feet past the hole.
Starts on a very nice line.
Beautiful line. It's just going to be a short with some break, though, for Duval to get to 1 under. It is a tricky little putt above the hole. Haven't seen many players.
And Mickelson picked up 2 shots on him on that hole.
Great opportunity here for Duval to get back into red numbers. Yes. You have to admire not only the way David Duval has brought his game back this week, by the way, everybody deals with the same severity of this hole.
Well, the reason why I made this statement, if he could par that hole, I think he's going to win the U.S. Imagine there's a good chance, you know, that Glover and those guys are going to bogey it. So that would be the spread he needed to win the U.S. Open. He might have to do it in a playoff. Who knows?
Very good lie for David Duval, 5-iron.
Come on, catch it.
There's the bounce you need. There's the bounce you need.
A guy that could use a break. We mentioned earlier in this round all of the breaks that were going against David Duval. The buried lie under the lip, very first hole of the day. He's got a chance here. Trying to bring a championship trophy across the pond to England. He's from Kingston. And now David Duval could pick up a rare birdie, get within 2, and make it back-to-back birdies to keep his hopes alive.
No, I thought it may have been a good break that he had Ross Fisher putting, but the speed was killed. It didn't give him the clue that he may have needed.
David Duval with a birdie at 15.
Fantastic.
And we have talked about it all week. If Mickelson's the favorite, Duval's the second favorite of the crowd here. So aware of what he's gone through, from the top player in the world to the depths of being ranked 882nd.
And David Duval, again, an important tee shot. If you can put it in. Oh, he likes it. Up the right side. Yeah, there we go. Very nice. And I know a lot has been said, Danny, about where he's come from, but he was talking about it earlier in the week, and he goes, you know, I'm not a quitter. And even as bad as it got, I was going to keep working hard at it, and I knew that one day I would get back.
It's about enjoying the moment as well. The story's been well documented. When he won that British Open, Gary, in 2001, he says, is this it? Is this all it's all about? Well, he has learned a lot about himself in this comeback from top-ranked golfer in the world status, and here he is at the U.S. Open with a great chance.
8-iron.
Get on back there.
Solidly struck just left to the hole.
Asking for it to get on back there. It does. And David Duval will have an excellent chance to get to 3 under par. All the way to the consolation match, and then Stuart Sink holed out a him, so finished 4th in that very elite event.
Duval, remember those years when he was on? He had that look of just, you didn't know what he was thinking. I carry just those shades on.
Yeah, that's a good description, Dan. Didn't know what was going on there. A very cerebral kind of guy, though. I mean, very detailed and varied interests.
Who do you think is number one in putts for the week?
Well, I know he's had 7 putts in the last 6 holes.
He is number one. All those struggling with the driver made him a great putter.
Double boxes. Mickelson in the upper left at 17. Duval, did he hit it firmly enough? Yes, he did. David. Absolutely clutch. That's 3 birdies in a row for him. One more look at David Duval's putt. Just stroked so confidently. Tracking. He knew it.
Think you got a story in Mickelson? How about David Duval? 880 spots away from Mickelson in the world rankings.
Danny, you were talking about it. He feels like his life is so much more complete now that he has a family, wife, child, children. Says he's enjoying it more now than he ever has. Every aspect of it.
You know, in his prime, nobody made the game look easy. A big compliment. He could do it all.
And he talked about that, Danny. And back on the tee. Oh,
who would have thunk? First shot of the day, 3rd hole. Gary.
Yeah, making a triple bogey 6.
It's a pretty good shot, folks. I don't want you to think it was a bad shot. He just happened to catch the very corner lip. Yards, no chance. Makes triple.
And he was 6 back after that triple, his very first hole in the morning.
Iron that he chose even before Mickelson putted ahead of him. Complete shot. Left of the flag and turning in that direction.
Will it get up? No, it does not. Very similar position to Mickelson's, just a little bit farther up, so the stance will be a little more level.
It is a shock to the system when you really have sort of been on the outside looking in, Gary, and then all of a sudden I'm tied for the lead in the Open with 2 holes to go, and that is a shock, like a taser shock.
Welcome back at 17. Just a moment ago, David Duval's second. Taking it out low, letting it run. Nicely judged. And now live to Duval to remain 3 under.
Gary, I think it's putt. He started and it trundles in.
I think there was a little left in that.
Yes, there definitely was. That was a well-struck putt, and he hit very firmly, too.
I thought it was inside right edge.
Let's take another look.
He even started right edge.
Yeah, and it was a firmly hit putt. Oh, man, a lot of the ball went down in the hole.
And Glover's sitting pretty right now.
Glover is in a great spot right now. He just needs to hit it flush, Gary. That's all he needs to do, because he's got a huge wide green.
Yes, keep it left to the hole, Johnny, is very easy to 2-putt from somewhere short.
Tee at 18. David Duval. 2 behind.
Not going with the driver. This brings in some of the trouble if he doesn't hit it well, but he hits a good shot, and he's back a little farther where you don't have to have quite.
Up to 18.
And David Duval. Looking for a little magic here.
60.
Right up that pin, knock it right in the hole.
He's trying to knock it in.
60 yards to the front, 65 total. Lie is just fine.
2 back.
Any other green, there's more wind there.
And that enables us to get over for Duval's second at 18. Up the hill. Could use a birdie.
That is a genius hole location with U.S. Open pressure. The guy's
on right now. He's going to hear a roar.
And there's so many choices. Of course, it's a big putt for David to give himself a chance. But there's a lot of choices off the tee for Lucas Glover. And now we got this big putt by David. I don't know if he's first to putt, is he?
He is. He's outside of Fisher. Duval kept telling us all, I'm close. I mean, I remember at the beginning of last year, he said, I want to play well enough to get on the Ryder Cup team. A lot of people rolling their eyes.
Well, he even said he thought he was a top 10 player, and everybody was like, what? You're 882, you know, 882. And maybe he is. Maybe he's here to stay for a while.
Well, he certainly fired a good round at the outset. A 67, which was his best U.S. Open round in 10 years, to kind of serve notice. Followed up. It really needs a birdie here to put some pressure on Glover. This to get Duval to 3 under with Glover behind him at the last hole at 4 under.
Doesn't look like it on TV, but this breaks about 10 inches right. Good, but it broke more right there than I saw. It really broke with about 4 feet to go.
So the best he'll be able to do is a final round 71.
But the bunkers are in play, and you don't want to go a lot of times.
Up ahead on the green, Duval to post 2 under. And tie Mickelson for the clubhouse lead. And David Duval currently tied for second. It's going to be
Dan, thanks very much. David, what an emotional day for you, I'm sure. But how do you look at today? You encouraged because it's your best result in a long, long time, or are you disappointed because you got so close and we're almost there?
Well, obviously I'm pleased and encouraged with how I played. Disappointed with my result. I came in here with a goal of winning. I thought the golf course suits me very well. I knew I was hitting it long, and I was hitting it straight, and I was putting it well, and I thought that I had a great chance to win the golf tournament starting this week. And all in all, I felt like I controlled myself well, controlled the golf ball well. A couple bad breaks, maybe things would have been different, but you know, then again, everybody had some.
There are a lot of highlights to talk about today, but we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about probably the worst break of the day. You just mentioned it. I'm sure that's what you're talking about, the opening tee shot on 3.
Yeah, you know, I pulled it a little bit, not such a bad golf shot, really. It went about exactly the distance I wanted to if I'd have hit it right at the flag, but I just pulled it a little bit, and you know, I figured I should be able to hit this bunker shot within, you know, 8 or 10 feet at worst, and have a buried under the lip, and all of a sudden I'm looking at how do I make double.
Tough shot. We just saw that shot right there, obviously stymied underneath the lip of the bunker. Today, you've talked so much about what confidence means to you and how important it is. What does today mean for you going forward?
Well, I think that maybe I'll stop being asked if I'm playing well. I've been saying it for a while. I've been saying my scores and results just are not reflective of all how I feel about how I'm hitting the golf ball, about how I'm actually playing. And, you know, I still am going to continue to work. I feel like I have some improvements to make still. But I think that all in all, I'm pleased over, you know, many years now. And it's nice to have some semblance of a result I'm looking for, although a spot short.
You're a big sports fan. Do you have a sense of how your story plays among sports fans?
You know, I don't know if I really think of it that way. I understand. You know, it's a heck of a lot easier for people, I think, to somebody who's getting beat up all the time than it is to Woods or a Michael Jordan, LeBron James. You know, those people are so few and far between, and a lot of us get kicked around a lot, and I think that the game has certainly done that to me, and maybe that's why people can understand me.
Well, you certainly came back nicely today. David, thank you very much for stopping by to join us.
Thank you.
Dan, back to you.